Purpose of Poetics by Aristotle. Let's get started. The main purpose of Aristotle's Poetics is to explain the nature, principles, and functions of poetry and dramatic art, especially tragedy, and to show how a literary work should be constructed to achieve its proper effect on the audience. To define poetry and its nature, Aristotle wrote Poetics to explain what poetry is and how it differs from other arts. He defines poetry as an art of imitation that represents human actions, emotions, and life. To classify literary forms, another purpose of poetics is to clarify different from form of poetry such as tragedy, comedy, epic poetry, lyric poetry. Aristotle especially focuses on tragedy and explains why it is the highest form of poetics art. To explain the structure of tragedy, a central aim of poetics is to explain how a tragedy should be constructed. Aristotle introduced key elements such as plot, character, thought, diction, music, spectacle. He emphasizes that plot is the soul of tragedy. To explain the concept of catharsis, one of the most important purposes of poetic is to explain catharsis, the emotional purification of pity and fear experienced by the audience while watching tragedy. To establish rules for effective drama, Aristotle wrote Poetics to provide guidelines for writer and critics, including unity of action, logical sequence of events, proper beginning, middle, and end, use of hamartia, tragic flow. To define poetry as a serious art, at a time when poetry is criticized, especially by Plato, Aristotle's purpose was also to define poetry as philosophical, meaningful, more universal than history. Conclusions. The purpose of Aristotle's Poetics is to analyze and explain the principle of poetry, particularly tragedy, in order to show how it literary immediate life produces emotional impacts and achieves artistic perfection. Like, subscribe, comment your questions. Thank you.